lovely sunny fall day in Wisconsin. My name is Ann Schell. I'm the administrative liaison to the board. And I'd like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a religious community who commit ourselves to diversity. We hope to nourish human differences, those of gender, race, age, ability, sexual orientation, political views, culture, class, and religious belief. Welcome to all who treasure freedom of conscience in the search for truth. We promise to do our best to provide you a spiritual home. We extend a special welcome to our visitors today. We are so glad you joined us.
I'm Tracy Hirsch, and I'm here to talk about the harvest auction. I got this necklace last year and this mask last year, so it has pretty things and practical things. It is on Saturday, November 13th at 6:30 for socializing and 7 o'clock on Zoom for the actual auction. And I'll be back there to gather. If you brought things, I can take it then. Otherwise, you can drop it off with Chris during work hours. We also have an option of becoming a sponsor this year, and if you want, you can go online and donate as a sponsor rather than donating a harvest item, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
Good morning, and welcome again to the service this morning. I'm Linda Mays, and I'm one of your worship associates today. And today's service is about the powerful steps we can take towards hope. We open our service with these words by Hope Johnson. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits, here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive, and we care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one, working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing, and rejoicing, getting to know one another, taking risks, opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, and struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility and being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one. Come, let us worship together.
Hi, everyone. I'm Susan O'Brien, and I'm also a worship associate today. So happy to be doing this with Reverend Lepp and with Linda. It's been since March 2020 that I've been in this building, so this is amazing. Please join with me today in helping me to light the chalice, so we'll talk together in unison. If ever there was a time for a candle in the darkness, this would be it. Using a spark of hope, kindle the flame of love, ignite the light of peace, and feed the flame of justice. Yay, 1 month. So as I said, it's been a long time since I've been here. And I'd like to share with you some of my thoughts on hope. To start with, what exactly is hope? There's probably many definitions, but I'm going to begin my reflection today with a short poem by David Breeden entitled Hope, Nearly Not There. There's no package called hope, nothing at a shop to look for. Hope won't store like hay in a barn. It is a last leaf on a branch in deep winter. It is a singular thing, firm when it's found, a hand reached out, a word to the marrow. Hope is fine-grained, like lavender gone to seed. Gossamer, a moth's wings. There's no weight, called hope. It's a hand, a whisper, a moment shared. Nearly not there, but like a shadow, they're all the same. So wow, it's been quite a year and a half for me. 19 months and counting of this once unthinkable period of pandemic. 19 long, difficult, weird, frustrating, absurd, confusing, scary months. I've been thinking a lot about hope since March of 2020. For someone who has lived with anxiety since childhood, the past year and a half has sent many meteorites of worry crashing about in my exhausted brain. This surreal pandemic, our country's polarized politics, the angry racism that has been fueled by angry politicians, the now overt indicators of climate change, denied by climate change deniers. It's all been so worrisome for me and for so very many people who struggle with worry. It's only been in the last several years that I had even begun to have the courage inside of myself enough to share with anyone outside of my family or a few close friends that I have always lived with anxiety. Trying to avoid anxiety, micromanaging anything that might cause me anxiety, and sometimes even denying my worry and anxiety. It's all been exhausting. And then a little over a year ago, a little over a year and a half ago, just when I was finally overcoming the nonstop shame and guilt of having anxiety and starting to begin to share my journey with others, and just when I thought that I was doing so much better and maybe even hopeful that perhaps I had had my last bout with anxiety, and friends and family and my dear husband all became worried about me. Those near me encouraged me. My dear, dear friend, Kathy Ryan, who's here today. If I would have let her hold my hand, she would have done. They all said to me, come on, Susan, have hope. It'll work out. We'll see. We'll be getting a vaccine. We'll come out of this. But it just all grew and multiplied in my head along with the political mismanagement of COVID. So many people losing their jobs, the absurd politicalizing of pandemic safety, growing racism, and other forms of hatred. We should have been rallying together. Instead, we seem to all be pulling apart in sad battles of opinion. I was losing hope and my worries soon became more than just anxiety. I started falling into depression. But I forced myself to keep functioning, listening to my doctors, using all the mental health tools. I tried changing my medication, tried multiple behavioral therapies, CBT, DBT, diversion therapy, and then increasing exercise, eating right, although I was already eating right, music therapy, art therapy, the serenity prayer. That's all I need. I just need to say the serenity prayer over and over and I'll get better. But it didn't work. And of course, like so many people, it wasn't just pandemics and politics that was giving me fear and stress. Like a lot of people, I also found myself with family troubles. And then the COVID death of a dear family member. And then some other personal health issues. And then the sudden death from a brain aneurysm of one of my closest, dearest friends. Like so many people everywhere, hope for me was becoming unattainable and far away. Try as hard as I could to look up, I found myself sinking down, losing hope. My dear, amazing husband, Jerry, was so worried about me. But I was numbing, just existing, going through the motions, trying to hang in there. It is still difficult to admit to others that this happens to me. To speak about it here today, and difficult even still to acknowledge it to myself. But then one day, I began to notice something changing in my consciousness. I don't know exactly when or how it began to come about.
And I began noticing details around me that I had not been seeing maybe ever. Sounds, colors, specific details in people, wildlife, everything I had become numb to, and everything I hadn't been able to focus on. Little by little, things were coming into view. And also the oddity of the simultaneous simplicity and complexity of everything. With this growing consciousness, I began thinking about the
practicing gratitude, which frankly, I had always thought was not very helpful for me, even though people had suggested it to me before. Before, I could not accept that gratitude could help me deal with worry because I've always felt that I'm a very grateful person. In fact, I felt the reason why I struggled with anxiety was because I was so very grateful for life and so scared of losing it or losing everything that I had. So how could being any more grateful than I already was do anything for me? But for some reason, I started thinking about gratitude again and giving the idea more merit. COVID, violence, the world news, everything around me was still chaotic, even getting more chaotic, but my thoughts started to become less chaotic the more I started to think about how appreciative I was for absolutely everything. It was as if my brain made a sort of subtle shift or change in perspective. Little by little, I started to look around me and also inside of me differently. And my compassion and empathy, which had always been large for other people, that also changed and grew in a deeper way. And I began to realize I hadn't truly been appreciative of life because before I was worried only of what I might lose. Now I was beginning to feel simply grateful for everything as it was, good and also bad, the same and or that which was changing. I began to experience the significance of right now, right in this moment, in a way I hadn't before. What I discovered helped me slowly and then more quickly move from a place of despair to where I find myself today. A place that I don't think I've ever really truly lived in before. Not a place of perfection without worry, but one of true gratitude, not anxiety-fueled gratitude, if this makes any sense to the rest of you. I find myself now sort of unconditionally appreciative of everything. Every piece of food in my home, the 30-year-old mattress on the 80-year-old bed that I sleep on, the toilet that flushes after I use it, the good, the bad, and even the things that scare me. That I can walk, I can see, I can hear, I can taste, I can feel. Even becoming more grateful for me, and there has also been a shift in how I'm seeing myself now. I'm more accepting of myself in a way, and there has also been a shift in how I see who I am. I don't feel as much shame for my anxiety or as much embarrassment for my vigilance. I recognize that it is my vigilance that causes me to care about other people, and that I'm one of those people who gratefully got the vaccine, and I don't mind always wearing a mask when I'm with others. I don't mind at all. So that I can help to keep others safe, so that we can heal from and begin to turn around the ravages of these past months from COVID. I don't take anything for granted. I'm also beginning to realize that instead of worry for what I have or won't have tomorrow, I have what I need today. And tomorrow I have what is before me, all that I'll need in that day. I have gratitude for this day of simplicity, and I can make a difference to another person by simply seeing them and hearing them. And I might even change the whole course of someone's day, who knows, possibly even the course of their life, by giving them a genuine compliment. By pointing out something wonderful that I see in someone else, that maybe they didn't see in themselves. So besides practicing gratitude, another thing I strive to do every day is to appreciate other people's souls and to affirm them, to work to understand their perspective, their fears, their needs. And I truly want to make a positive impact, however small or simple, to another person every day. So I know that all of this isn't earth-shattering. It's simple, really. There's that simple word again. But gratitude, appreciation, those concepts became my indirect roads to hope. And so I'm on a different kind of road now than I used to travel on. I don't know that I will ever fully conquer worrying. But I do feel that I'm now leading myself on a path that moves and turns with gratitude. I'm not there yet, not where I would like to one day be, but I'm getting there. And I love these words said by Albert Einstein that I discovered, who knew, on Facebook, which is, of course, our true Bible, right? But seriously, Einstein was quoted as saying these very simple but sublime words. You probably already heard them, but for me, they are most of what I need to live well. He said there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. And I really feel everything is a miracle. And it's my intention to keep on this more hopeful path of gratitude and appreciation. I'm so beholden to this moment, to our earth, the sky, to our teachers, our healthcare workers, our spiritual leaders, to some of our politicians, to this Unitarian Universalist congregation. And I'm so very thankful for each of you. And I am hopeful. Thank you.
And now Susan and I will be reciting Meditation on Hope and Love in a Time of Struggle by Alice Anacheka Nasman. And I invite us all, rather than simply hearing these words, to really experience. There will be a time where we can breathe in together and breathe out, and may we all enter into that. In a world so filled with brokenness and sorrow, it would be easy to lose ourselves in never-ending grief, to be choked by our outrage, to be paralyzed by the enormity of suffering, to feel our hearts squeeze tight with hopelessness. But instead, this morning, let us simply breathe together as we hold our hearts open.
Breathing in as our hearts fill with compassion.
And breathing out as we pray for healing in our world and in our lives.
Breathing in, opening ourselves to the transforming power of love.
And breathing out as we pray for peace in our world and in our lives.
Breathing in as we hold hope in our hearts.
And breathing out as we pray for justice in our world and in our lives.
May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into this world.
And breathing in, we are the prayer.
Breathing out, we are the healing.
Breathing in, we are the love.
Breathing out, we are the peace.
Breathing in, we are the hope.
Breathing out, we are the justice.
May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into the world. Amen. Blessed be. May it ever be so.
So there's a road called Hope. A road called Hope. A road called Hope. Maybe we bushwhack through the woods or our backyard or our tangled brains. Maybe we find a path that we never saw before. Or maybe that road called Hope is right underneath our feet and we've never seen it until right now. And we knew that this was the time to hold on so tight to that feeling, to that hope, to that thing that will get us through our hardest days. This road called Hope. We live on this little blue-green ball in the middle of this vast galaxy. When William Shatner came down from space, he came down and he could barely talk. He was in tears, and the corporate folks around him kept interrupting him. But he finally said what he wanted to say, that we have such a responsibility and such a connection to beauty in this world, in this present moment. And I think, as we heard from Susan, that connection to hope is so difficult sometimes. And it takes such a grand amount of courage to come up here or to admit to things that we struggle with, that we are wrestling with. And we don't have to do it alone. There's that truth that we all do better when we all do better. When George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, many of us watched and were filled with despair and wondered, how can this change? How can this get better? And those who had been paying attention all along, or who had been affected all along, said, why are you just noticing this right now? Can you be with us? Can you walk with us? And we were in the middle of this pandemic, and all of us were staying home and afraid of crowds and wondering, how can we make a difference? How can we bring hope? How can we be in solidarity? And I remember thinking, there are people gathering, and I'm telling us that we can't be in church together, and we're telling each other that we can't gather, but there's so much in the world that we need to show up for. And so people did gather outside, distance as best they could, and they walked together, and they sang together, and they went to Minneapolis together. All across the world, people showed up in ways that they may not have showed up before. And maybe they felt in their hearts that they needed to make a difference before, but this moment during the pandemic, when we had less meetings to go to, less soccer games to drive kids and grandkids to, the world was paying attention. And I think this is our moment to pay attention, to notice how connected we are with each other through compassion, through pain, through getting through those hardest times. A friend on Facebook sent me a message I'd put out, like I sometimes do, that I was sermon hunting. What gives you hope now? And some people put music. I know, God, it's so nice to see live music happening when we couldn't have that for so long. And today we're going to hear our beautiful Jennifer Blakely Mode sing to us, and I can't wait. And I can't wait for the day when things get better and we can sing as a congregation and we can have groups and we can take off these darn masks, you know? But the road called hope is these difficult choices that we make together. You know, the fact that we are making all these hard decisions, like trying to get vaccinated, trying to mask, trying to make it safe for those who can't get vaccinated yet, trying to speak up that racism and hateful speech is not okay. this past Saturday, or yesterday, I never know how to do that right. Is it past Saturday, yesterday? Anyway, yesterday, at the community table, I was telling one of the parents of our youth that it was so great to be able to spend time with our youth doing work at the community table. And, it's not especially profound work. You're sitting there cutting tomatoes or cleaning or serving, but it's that chance to have a conversation, the chance to be present. I know my youngest son has learned how most of the things he knew in the kitchen at community table from other people. And, he was sitting there talking to Ralph Edwards, one of the parents who was there, and telling him about his life. And it's these side conversations, listening to how youth relate to each other, or their care and concern about the environment, or about classism. And you just think, these are the people who are going to be running the country pretty soon, and that's a sign of hope. And you also think about, someone on Facebook sent me this interview with Jane Goodall, and many of us have been familiar with Jane Goodall and her work with the chimpanzees in Gombe. And, this was a young woman in a time she knew nothing about science, in a time when women weren't taken too seriously in the scientific world. And she went out and observed and spent time with and was present with these chimpanzees in ways that had not been done before. And she said she spent most of her first 6 months there trying to get them to gain trust. And there was this especially handsome chimpanzee, as she describes him. And it was David Graybeard, this chimpanzee. And David Graybeard, I think I have his name right, was the one that was her bridge to the other chimpanzees. He began to trust her. And when he was with her, the other chimpanzees would come in and be with her. And I think that's very interesting. We always, at least many people before that, didn't necessarily think of animals as sentient or having the intelligence to use tools or to have groupings of society. But she showed us through her nearly 60 years of work that chimpanzees are sentient beings, and that they work with tools, and that they have societies. And she also talked about the urgent need to protect them from destruction. And what was really interesting is we'll get really focused on a cause, like we need to protect the environment, but we don't necessarily think about the communities around that preserve and wonder why are people poaching? Why are people coming into this preserve and needing to take things from this area? And so she began to try and develop around those communities, reforesting around Gombe, teaching sustainable practices of farming. And lo and behold, those chimpanzees are doing a lot better. And she created this program called Roots and Shoots that's all around the world now. And it does things like this by looking at sustainable practices. Instead of just thinking about that one issue, it's the interrelatedness of how does this environmental problem impact people? How can people and future generations learn so that they can do better and have pride in their community? So I think the road for hope is interconnected. It's that sense that we rise and fall together. Susan talked about getting through difficult times, and I think we look for different things: music, maybe belief, maybe a book, maybe a funny movie, SNL, I don't know. The things that help us get through. UU theologian Rebecca Parker noted how many people struggle through disappointment to find a source of hope and trust. And she told the story of one terrible moment when she had reached that place. Much in her life had gone wrong, so in her despair, she decided that she needed to end it. She told of leaving her apartment with determined steps, her face wet with tears, walking toward a lake in a park near her home, and she was going to walk into that lake. Entering the park, she was surprised to see a number of dark objects blocking her way. She didn't remember them being there before, and as she got closer, she noticed something else. There were people moving among the objects. And suddenly she realized what she was seeing. There were telescopes. Telescopes? It was a meeting of the Seattle Astronomy Club. Its members just happened to have set up their equipment that night because of the unpredictable skies were clear. A little disoriented but still determined, Parker made her way through the group until one enthusiast who assumed that she had come to look at the stars spoke to her and said, "Here, let me show you." And so he showed her the telescope, and he began to explain as he focused the telescope. She brushed her tears away and peered in, and she looked. There it was, she said. I could see it, a red-orange spiral galaxy. And that was it. I could not bring myself to continue my journey, she said, in a world where people get up in the middle of the night to look at the stars. I could not end my life. She connected with something larger than herself. She had her thought disrupted. Community, unexpected as it was, stepped in and showed her a different way. We don't know what acts of kindness or love or respect, a look in the eye, a song, a gift, art, how these can touch people in their most dire of times. And this time during the pandemic, we've all struggled, trying to find handholds and hope and just trying to get by and wondering, is there going to be a sense of normal? Do we want do we want to go back to the old normal? And I know my hope has been in moments like that. It's been when I've gone to the grocery store and then gone, oh my God, can somebody just please mask? Please. And then I'll see a nice little family full of masked people. I go, okay. Or someone who is helping someone open the door. So you see someone struggling to get in the door, and then you'll see someone open the door. Okay, there's hope. And we can be a part of that by noticing in ourselves our needs. Growing up in the Bible Belt of South Carolina, I was told that my hope should lie outside of me and in a Savior outside of myself, that I should look outside of myself. And a lot of the culture also told me that I was sinful, that my body was, I should be demure and not wear, racy things. I shouldn't speak too loud. I should definitely smile. I should be pleasing to men. And this was the culture that I grew up in and that many people experience in different ways, told how to act. And my hope lie in my boisterous sister, who was a rebel. She was much more brave than I was. She raised Cain and she did all the adventuring for me. And also in my mother. My mother grew up in a family that expected her to be a certain way, and she went to college and should have to marry into the right family and do the right things. And I think the 70s hit and she just said, nope, that's not going to happen. And at a certain time in our lives, we wake up maybe to that need to be ourselves, that need to be whole, to have hope and belief in who we are and where we're going. And I think the pandemic caused us to have time, different kinds of time, to be introspective. And I have hope in Unitarian Universalism that we tell people that they are okay in and of themselves. You don't have to prove yourself through a certain set of belief, that you can save yourselves and others, whatever that means. There was a young man that I've run into, and he's not quite so young anymore. He's a professor at Harvard. He was a Unitarian Universalist minister for many years, and he also had a plan to take his life. And he was a young gay man in a rural community, and had the belief that he was somehow sinful and not worthy. And he had written out a plan, had the means to do it, and somehow his grandmother got a sense of where he was, and she said, I'm going to start taking you to this group. I think there are people like you, whatever she meant by that. Maybe thinking, I don't know, maybe LGBTQ. But his little grandma drove him an hour away to this small gathering of Unitarian Universalists who sat around with a book and read. And he said, in that moment, in that little tiny community, probably 15 people, it literally saved his life because he was told that he had worth and dignity, no matter whom he loved, what body he was in, what his belief was, just because of who he was as a part of life. And that gives me hope. So on this road called hope, whether you're stepping onto it for the first time, wheeling on it with your wheelchair, running down it, trying to catch up to the hope that you wanted to have a long time ago, bushwhacking through all your anxiety, your fears, whatever it is, we got your back. We got your back right here. These people in this place and in Eau Claire, some of those folks have your back because we believe in you. You're born right the first time. That's my favorite line. Born right the first time. And thank you for being part of that hope. Amen. So now's the fun part, where we support this congregation, we listen to beautiful music. Now is the time in our service where we share of our abundance. Our 50-50 Share the Plate this month is Round Table Revival, and that is an organization which supports people post-incarceration. And you can scan to donate. It's in your order of service. You can text to give at 84321. If you're here in the sanctuary, there's a box in the back where you can put an envelope. The offering will now be given and so very gratefully received. Thank you.
To keep
Jennifer, Reverend Lepp had to just remind me to get up now because I was lost from how beautiful that was. Thank you. Please, everyone, join me in extinguishing the chalice today. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our closing words today are "We Imagine a Path" by D. Scott Cooper. We bow our heads in order to imagine not one path, but many. We imagine a path forward for those who cannot imagine any path forward because of poor health, financial hardship, family crises, and other roadblocks we cannot begin to understand or imagine. We struggle to imagine a path forward for those who are forced to leave a homeland against their will, and for those unable to leave a war-torn homeland despite their lives being in danger. We imagine a path forward for those who leave their homes to make a better life for their families elsewhere. May we be a welcoming presence along that path toward hope. We come together to imagine a path forward for those of us despairing because we do not seem to know our country nor our neighbors, despite the fact that we have not moved at all. May we be the good we are hoping to find as we travel side by side down the path toward hope. We imagine a path forward for those who feel lonely or isolated. May we take one another's hands as we walk that path towards community. Truly, we know as we imagine these ways forward and take one another's hands, the paths will lead to hope. The roads will lead to beloved community, and the arc will bend toward justice because we have dared to travel with love in our hearts. May it be so. Thank you, friends, for joining us today. We go forward with hope. Amen.